Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us for our dearly departed Round 6 review of this weekend's Premier League games. Who are the dearly departed? The teams I covered in the Championship that managed to get themselves up. And we still keep involved with all of those clubs. I'm talking Sheffield United, Villa, Leeds, West Brom and Fulham. All in action this weekend. My apologies, I had planned to do this show yesterday, but Paul Lambert, Darren Moore, my tribal football column and another stream, and I just had to tap out in the end in the early evening, having not stopped for about 18 hours. So here it is today. My apologies for the delay. What I will say is there are already individual match reviews of the dearly departed Classico between Leeds and Villa and Brighton and West Brom. So if you want fully formed stuff on those, you can go over and check that out. I will have a little bit of a talk now at the end of the weekend while the table's fully formed, but we'll go through in a little bit less detail, particularly on those two games. Right, let's get into this. First of all, we need to say thank you to Coyle, who is our fan sponsor, dearly departed, also known as Ben Couldn't Bear to Lose Us. So thank you to Jay, got involved over on Patreon. Here are our results. Blue Bells by our dearly departed game. So it was Man City 2, West Ham 1, West Brom 1, Brighton 0, Leeds 0, Villa 1, Newcastle 1, Wolves 1. That is important when it gets to the Fulham game. Palace 0, Fulham 0, Leicester 1, Arsenal 3, Spurs 4, Burnley 0, Chelsea 0, Man United 0, Sheffield United 0, Liverpool 2 is our last dearly departed game. And last night, on the Monday Night Football, it was Everton 1, Southampton 0. Let's move into our first game. As ever, we go from the top downwards. And it was Leeds United 0, Aston Villa 1. Villa avenging the 3-0 defeat by Leeds at Villa Park earlier in the season. I call this the dearly departed Classico, with these two teams flying the flag for the dearly departed in a lot of the season, and both of them in the top half of the table, which has been fantastic. And a little bit of back and forth, as always, between the fans of these clubs, as their rise does seem to have been tied together a little bit after the Championship battles in 18-19. There are the teams. Meslier in goal for Leeds, Ayling, Llorente, Cooper, Dallas, Struijk over Phillips, who's still injured, Costa over Harrison, Roberts over Rodrigo. Harrison's on the bench. Rodrigo and Phillips, obviously, both not around. Click, Rafinha. Bamford is the rest of the team. Villa, their shape tells you a story. They've gone for the normal 4-2-3-1 and basically said, we'll shore up, tight midfield, 3. Out goes Douglas Luiz. In comes Ramsey and Nakamba. And, you can see as the game panned out how that worked in Dean Smith's favour. Martinez in goal, target Mings, Konza, El Mohammadi over Cash at right back, who's out, McGinn, Nakamba and Ramsey central midfield 3, Traore, Watkins, El Ghazi up top, legs in midfield, ability to absorb the swarm that you get from Leeds sometimes with their coordinated pressing and quick attacking. What you need in this situation is an early goal to defend, and that's exactly what Villa got. A bit lucky in the first instance. Watkins' shot kind of skews off to the right, but then really good from El Ghazi. Brings it down with his right foot, hits it home with his left foot. Again, I'll reiterate, I did a full 20 minutes on this game on Sunday morning, so do go and check that out. I'll move on just to the stats here now. Game state is never reflected in stats. Dean Smith, in his own words, said Villa went to a low block in the second half. They got the goal, and then they limited Leeds. Look down the bottom on the right to the XG to 0.881 big chance. So it was a case of perfect storm, really, for Villa. Get your noses in front, defend the lead. I don't want to get into any refereeing stuff or anything of that nature. Maybe comment on the other video for things like that. There's plenty of good discussion over there on that. Now, as the tables panned out by the end of the weekend, with an Arsenal win and a Tottenham win, Both sides dropped down a place from the immediate aftermath of the game. Leeds just in the bottom half there, but still excellent work. 11th, 35 points. Villa, a couple of games in hand. You just look above Villa now and around them, and you see Spurs, Everton, Liverpool, Arsenal in the gap. A lot of traditionally big clubs in there. And from our dearly departed point of view, it would be great if you told me at the start of the season, Leeds and Villa, best of the rest, with then just, Arsenal, Spurs, Everton, Liverpool, Chelsea, obviously West Ham have kind of, gone up into that stratosphere, so credit to them. But big picture, really good. And I know bit of needle between the two sets of fans, but I like this rivalry. As I say, it does seem the ascent is kind of linked back to that 2018-19 season, and certainly I very much enjoy covering both clubs, and let's see how they track together in the future. Obviously, Villa have been up a season longer than Leeds and had that extra year of that lovely TV income. Right, it was Leeds 0, Villa 1. Okay, Palace 0, Fulham 0. So, Fulham draw again after the good run of 8 points in 4 games. They had closed up the gap. Newcastle drew. So, I do think now it has settled. It isn't just a 1 week wonder where it's reasonably close. Has settled into somewhat of a viable relegation battle. This week was a good week for the teams, well, barring Sheffield United, the dearly departed teams in the bottom 3, if only Fulham could have got a win. But big picture, there's a lot more in it than there was a few weeks ago, let's just say. For Palace, Gaeta in goal, Ward, Koyate, Cahill, Van Arnhelt, Riedveld and Milivojevic, Townsend, Eze, Ayew, Benteke up top. For Fulham, Areola in goal, Tete, Anderson, Adrabio, Aina. No Robinson. Is he still? No, he's not suspended. He's on the bench, so he's going to come on at half time. Anguissa and Reed. Harrison Reed. Bobby Reed in front of him. Loftus-Cheek, Lookman. And Maja keeps the starts. Mitrovic back on the bench. Cavaliero on the bench. Onuma is there as well. Lamina. All players that played this season as Scott Parker. We've charted it through the season as he develops what is ultimately his Premier League team that's going to finish the season. We all know the team that starts the season is never the team that finishes the season. Fulham edged this one. Some would probably go even stronger with their language on that. We'll look at the numbers at the end. That's Maja, edge of the box, decent chance. This one's even better. Good save by Gaeta to his left. And when we go to the numbers, it's not like Fulham dominated and had a ton of chances. What we can safely say is Palace didn't create anything. 0.17 on the XG, no shots on target. So, look, it's a clean sheet for Fulham. They're good defensively, aren't they? Their recent run has had a few clean sheets in it, hasn't it? And they're viably not losing to these teams. Hodgson, I guess, with the table being what it is, would take a draw there. Just keep them at arm's length. Don't take 3 points off, a kind of, it's not really a direct rival, but a bottom half rival. I still wonder whether we're going to sit here at the end of the season talking about Fulham being relegated and saying they just drew too many games, and is this another one? But when we look at the table now, it's a far more viable challenge, isn't it? With look at the last 5 games. That's terrific from Fulham, even if you do think they could have got more out of this game. It's 9 points in the last 5, which is, from a bottom 3 team, really, really above average, isn't it? And Fulham closing in on points parity, as in a point per game, which often, 38 for the season, will keep you up. Palace obviously are 10 points clear of that. And the key teams now are Newcastle and Brighton, who are only 3 points ahead. You would say Brighton look a bit more of a formidable opponent than Newcastle do at the moment. But it's hotted up, and there is a chance. Let's hope we don't get a tail off from Fulham and we're not left ruining too many drawn games. Get your comments in on that one. Palace 0, Fulham 0. West Brom 1, Brighton 0. Just to reiterate, I did a full video on this and went into great detail on the Lee Mason incident. So we'll just go and précis this by saying that, and we'll go a little bit shorter on this. But a great win for Big Sam and the Baggies. And as we just pointed out, Brighton, a couple of defeats at the same time as Fulham push up the table, and a West Brom win. And, you know, a bit more interesting. Johnston in goal, Furlong, O'Shea, Bartley, Townsend, Ajayi suspended. Yokuslu, Pereira, Gallagher, Maitland-Niles, Phillips, Dianya up top. Looks more like a Big Sam team now, doesn't it? For Brighton, Sanchez, Veltman, White, Dunk, Byrne, Bissouma, Gross, Trossard, McAllister, Connolly, Mopai. And I think anyone who followed the weekend knows the story of this game. That is Kyle Bartley headering in the goal. And then Siege. 2 penalties missed by Brighton in this game. That crazy Lee Mason incident with Lewis Duncan, the free kick, and probably blown the whistle twice, really, when he probably shouldn't have blown the whistle either time, and then VAR and back and forth. I talked about that more on the other video, so do check that out if you want my full thoughts on that. And a very clear narrative that's continued with Brighton. 3.29 on the XG to 0.73. Massive stats, underlying stats in Brighton's favour. However, those people who kind of, in rather simplistic fashion, say, well, Ben, there's only one stat that matters. Well, there isn't only one stat that matters, but when determining where the points are going, there is, if you add that onto that statement, there is only one stat that matters, and that's goals for and goals against. And Brighton scored 0, and West Brom scored 1. So in game, there's a lot of positivity for Brighton. We've had this for a while now, haven't we? But they lost 1-0. They missed a couple of penalties. I mean, there's a fairly sensible argument that if you play this game 10 times, this is probably the one occasion where West Brom win it. But West Brom did win it, and they are set up by Big Sam to be good at set plays and to be able to absorb long periods without the ball. It's 71% on the possession. The 2 penalties, you're riding your luck a little bit there, because pro footballers should be scoring, well, it's 0.77, isn't it, for a penalty? So 3/4 of penalties. So don't know how that adds up. 2 of them should be 1.5 goals if you get that underlying numbers spiel. But again, it was 1-0 to West Brom, and well done to them. 5 points in 3 games, couple of clean sheets as well. Look, they're a long way back, as in they are 6 points off Fulham and 9 points off Newcastle. But it's a key win, and also 9 points off Brighton. It's a key win against a direct rival. And when I've been doing my championship stuff, people ask me about Wickham, and I say I'll talk to you in 3 wins' time. It's almost like that with Baggies, isn't it? That they need to essentially win 3 and 4 at some point. They need 10 points from 4 games at some point. If they were to do that in the next 4 games, they'd be on 27 from 30 games. And they'd be in the position that Fulham are right now, where they're 3 points off points parity, which, as Big Sam rightly points out, along with his constant talking about clean sheets and not losing, would get them close. But there's still a fair bit of water to go. And there is a sense Brighton will pick back up, surely. Surely some regression to the mean with those numbers will occur. But you never know. You never know. Get your comments in. West Brom 1, Brighton 0. And finally, it was Sheffield United 0, Liverpool 2. In the battle of 0 centre-backs, as it was billed on Twitter beforehand. Both teams struggling for centre-halves in this one. There's your Blades team, Ramsdale. So it's Ampadu, Jagielka, and Brian, the fabled 3 centre-backs of Egan, O'Connell and Basham. None of them are there. Baldock and Stevens, wing-backs, Lundstrom, Norwood, Fleck, McGoldrick and McBurney up top. For Liverpool, again, they've had a lot of injuries in the same position, haven't they? Which is totally unhelpful. Adrian in goal, Phillips and Kabak are the centre-halves. They've obviously had Matip and Van Dijk, and they've played Fabinho and Henderson there. Alisson obviously is presumably on, I don't know whether he's injured or is on compassionate leave. Obviously, there'd been a bereavement in his family. Alexander-Arnold right back, Robertson left back, Alcantara, we call him Thiago, Wijnaldum, Jones midfield, but they're still able to put on the pitch Salah, Mane, Firmino, that brilliant front three. Now, this actually quite pleases me to say because there's been a lot of, how can I put this? Sceptical comments about Aaron Ramsdale this season. I do think there's some sense he's been in the wrong place at the wrong time as this inertia has kicked in for Sheffield United. But he has a really, really good performance here and keeps Blades in the game really for the first half. Firmino there, the one-on-one save, good save Ramsdale. Another one there, look at that with the feet, covers the near post, stretches his foot out for Salah. And then Alexander-Arnold coming in on the left foot behind it, tips it up and away. Good stuff from Ramsdale. However, one more. Wijnaldum to the right. However, into the second half, Salah just keeps that in. And I love this goal from Curtis Jones. This is great. Always remember hearing Iain Wright talk about finishing. He said, you don't know when you're going to get your chance. Minute 1, minute 91. But you need to go cold. And there's a lovely... Just watch Jones when he scores this goal. The ball rolls back and he just goes cold. He sets himself. He's cool as a cucumber. No panic, no running towards the ball. Lets it come to him. Gets his technique, his body shape, everything right and just fires it in the corner. Great finish by Jones there. You can even see by his body shape how in control of that situation he is with the space in the box. Some people, they get the space and they rush it, don't they? But Jones, we think, will... I mean, look, he's playing for Liverpool. He's already an elite player. But, we're thinking a big, long career at the top level for him. And... Ramsdale's unlucky here. Firmino hits the shot. Number 29, Brian, there's going to deflect off him. You can see Ramsdale's gone to his right. He's down on his knees as the ball loops over him. Unlucky. But if we look at the numbers, particularly looking down at the XG, 0.5, 0.85 for Blades, 3 for Liverpool with 6 big chances, would intimate that Liverpool created a lot of chances. Sheffield United didn't create many. McBurney, big-headed chance at 1-0, I think, as well. So game state reveals a lot. But you have the combination of Blades' goalkeeper playing really well, Liverpool creating a lot of chances, and Sheffield United not creating many, would suggest somewhat of a viable victory for Liverpool. And after a bit of a surge, sadly, for the Blades, 6 wins in 9 in all competitions, 4 straight Premier League defeats have come. And, so 15 points adrift now with 12 games to go. And from my little reading on my phone of the Sheffield United timeline, the conversation seems to now be moving to what's the Championship squad going to be next season. You know, do you spend time essentially bedding in players and getting them ready for next season? So we'll see. Again, talk to me in three wins in 4 games will do something, but they're such a long way back now, and this latest slip is, possibly the nail in the coffin. Let me know what you think. Sheffield United 0, Liverpool 2. That's our show. Thank you to Jay Coyle, dearly departed, also known as Ben Couldn't Bear to Lose Us. He is our fan sponsor. You two can get involved over on Patreon. Hopefully, this didn't come into your YouTube feed too late. Obviously, trying my best to keep up with this, and it was just a mental news day with Paul Lambert going at 9 p.m. one night, and then Darren Moore announced at 9 a.m. the next morning, and we just couldn't get it done. There's a couple of Premier League games. I don't know if any dearly departed in action in midweek. I'll double check, but we'll obviously cover that. So all that remains for me to say is thank you very, very much for watching. Get your opinions in the comment. Let's make this the best place to chat about football with like-minded people on the YouTube platform. And it's a big over and out from me. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.